Welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in Bowmanville, Ontario, Canada. Joining us tonight for the 2K GT World Cup. You can see this in just a few moments' time after the break.
Truex in the outside, contact made, 56 slides in at a 4, who's going to be into stripe, dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Welcome to round 5 of the 2K GT World Cup. Rachel Whitehead here with Randy Cheneth, and we are bringing you all the action from qualifying and the upcoming race here. 45 laps around Mosport, also known as Mosport, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. All we know, this track has some very rich history, of course. Hosted rounds of the Formula 1 series. It's hosted the USAC Champ Car series. Hosts and currently does host WeatherTech IMSA Sports Car Series, NASCAR's Pinty Series, and the Camping World Truck Series. So, a rich history here at Mosport, Randy. This track, this race, is going to be a great one.
Yeah, pretty much one of the premier Canadian circuits here at Mosport, and you know, how can you even say otherwise with corners like Moss and, you know, the final sector here, and really that intimidating turn 2, one of the most difficult circuits in the world.
Certainly is, Randy. Of course, this track has some very tricky sections to it. As qualifying times are starting to be run down here, and we've got some very rapid times from the drivers today. 15-1, the current pole position at the moment. That's Maximilian Bendeke, who was last race's winner as well. In fact, that was round number 4, if you remember. Of course, he won at Brands Hatch with Nathan Charkner and Alexander Minea. I'll get that right eventually. Of course, coming in the top 3 for that race, and Minea is currently in second at the moment. Patrick Bichler of the PRT team at 111 is currently in third. Randy, just talk us through a lap here at Mosport. Tell us the difficulties for these GT cars.
Well, it's obvious, it's, you know, always difficult struggling for traction here at Mosport. You know, specifically through some of the sections, you know, turn 1 and turn 2 and even turn 3, the car can get really light in the rear end, and obviously coming off a Moss corner, you can really have to struggle for rear traction here. I'm not really surprised to see Max up here at the point here in qualifying, and he has Alexander Minea covered by about a 1/10.5. There's a very BMW favored circuit, a lot of downforce here, and that's really what you need. You do have the long back straightaway, the Mario Andretti straightaway, but it's just short enough to where the top end of the other cars don't really kick in on that BMW, and because of that, you know, they can really get a lot of pace over the course of this lap.
Yes, they certainly can, and of course the elevation here, Randy, a major factor in how these cars handle. A lot of mechanical grip, not a huge amount of aerodynamic downforce on these GT class cars. So the changes in the elevation, turn 2 dropping down into that double apex left-hander, turn 3 quite flat, but you've got the diving turn 4 into the entry to Moss. Talk to us about Moss. What makes that such a unique corner?
Well, it's just, you know, the entry is very strange. There's only a couple corners really in the world that anything like it. And you have Moss here, and then you actually have the complex at VIR, where Oak Tree is. That's very similar. You have, you know, what is a very fast entry that goes, you know, the entry is downhill up until, you know, you reach the bottom of this little valley, and then the track suddenly rises up very quickly. All the while you have to be on the brakes. you more or less crest the top of the hill mid-corner, and then you have to do another second apex that's essentially downhill. So all within about the span of about 6 to 7 seconds, you go from a very fast downhill to a very sharp braking uphill to cresting the top of the hill, and then going back downhill and getting on the gas here. It's just the camber changes every single step of the way through that corner, makes it very, very difficult trying to chase traction.
As a Californian, would it be appropriate for me to say it's a bit like a skateboard half pipe?
It's not quite as radical as that, dude.
Well, the time's coming in now at the moment, and it's looking like a secure pole. The number 112 car of Maximilian Vendek. He is sitting on a 1 minute 15.190. A rapid lap time from him. Menez holding place in second, Pichler in third, is Rodriguez in fourth at the moment, and Mananzo in P5. Gonna wait for the rest of these drivers in the field. We've got a 24 car field tonight, Randy. So not a small grid. It's going to be a pretty tricky race for these guys, making sure things go their way. Weather tonight, we have 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temperature is 105. Winds are from the west at the moment. Humidity is on the higher side than average, but these conditions make it challenging.
Maybe a little bit. That track temperature is a little bit warm, and that's going to make it just that little bit harder to have grip in these cars. So that's definitely going to be something they need to be chasing, and I'm sure that a lot of these guys have probably made their setups just a little bit more safe in terms of how they have to drive them. Obviously, with a 45-lap race, probably won't be seeing pit stops here, so undoubtedly they need to make sure, whatever they have when that green flag drops, they're going to have at the end.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a tricky one, of course. We're going to see what we see. We say we won't see fuel stops, but based on the rest of the 2K Cup Series, we have here, of course, on Racebot TV and iRacing Live, they do tend to like to throw in a fuel limit, so we could be expecting at least one stop, potentially, depending on how this goes. That's something I'll have to check up with Philippe Liber, of course, but it's a great track here. It's going to be a great race for these cars. Before we just run to the end of qualifying, Randy, just tell me about the trouble spots we're going to see. Tell us about what drivers need to be looking out for on these initial laps. Where are we going to find the trouble spots at Mosport?
There's several, turn 2 is obviously a huge one. Is in the real world, that corner has been somewhat neutered as they've now paved what is on iRacing, the grass area on the outside. But I mean, it's a very, very fast, off camber double apex left-hander. Turn 3 can be very tricky as well, and the back end really wants to come around. Moss is obviously incredibly difficult, and really I think where you will see a lot of problems, specifically between racing incidents, turn 8, 9, and 10. That's that long. You come into the sector off that long back straightaway, so you have people in the draft wanting to make moves, and that section of track gets really narrow really quickly. So expect people who maybe are trying to be a little bit over aggressive. They're gonna want to make moves into that part of the track, and as narrow as it gets, I would expect someone to either push wide or maybe even get shoved to the outside. Could lose the rear end, end up spinning.
And it could be, although I think we heard a 747 landing in your booth there, Randy. But we've got information in. It's 55% of a fuel tank is what these guys will be running, which is just above what they get, of course, in the Blancpain Sprint Series official on iRacing. That's 14.6 gallons, which I believe is about 50%, Randy. So we're looking at about 15 gallons or so for these guys.
Yeah, going to depend on the cars. The McLaren I know has a slightly larger tank, and a couple of them actually I think might be a little bit smaller depending on the track. But this is definitely going to be a pit stop race then after hearing the fuel limit. Within that championship, the official series, it's 45-minute races with a just under halfway. So here we're talking an extra 15 minutes, and really probably only an extra 5 to 6% worth of gas. I doubt people will be able to no stop here.
Absolutely not. We're expecting about 23 laps. Actually, with the bit of extra fuel, these guys are running with 55%. About 24 laps. So the 45-lap race, we realistically will see a pit window opening up about lap 23, Randy. It'll last to about lap 25. That's when we really expect to see people in here, and it'll be a very busy pit lane. But we're at the end now. We're about to get these cars on the grid. As the pace lap will roll out, we're going to run through your qualifying grid. Maximilian Mendek puts it on pole with a 1:15.190, which was unbeaten throughout qualifying. Alexander Manea will start alongside him in second. Patrick Pichler will start in third position with a 15.528, and Andrew Rodriguez will start in fourth. Christian Mananzo will start in P5, and Andy Gorton on his outside in P6. Row 4 will be Marcus Penbeck and Justin Brunner. Row 5, Patrick Richter and Jonathan Brout. The rest of those positions will be up on your screen now as we get ready for the pace lap here at Mosport and 45 laps of hardcore GT racing, Randy.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting one. You know, this track really drives a lot like a roller coaster, a lot of ups and downs, and you know, it's basically just missing a loop, and you know, you could basically call it a roller coaster of a circuit at that point. Absolutely well done, actually, by Justin Brunner, the only McLaren in the field to get himself up into the top 10. A very heavily field very heavily dominated by the BMW and the Audi, which is very interesting. Because most other series I've seen, we've seen a pretty even split of cars, but here pretty much everybody flocking to one of those two automobiles.
Yes, they certainly are, as we wait for the front of your field to take to the grid, of course, and this field will be pulling away very, very shortly. All pace lap here at Mosport, so these guys are going to get a little taster at about 60 miles an hour, Andy, of just the trials and tribulations of this race circuit, and just watch, even at these speeds, how tough it can be to go too wide through parts of this track.
Yeah, especially once you get to a sector like Moss, even under these pace laps, it can be pretty tight. I wouldn't be surprised to see a good chunk of this field going through that sector, just sort of, you know, single file off as they go through there, just because it is so narrow. You know, the one part that's going to make things really interesting on the start of this race is that final sector. Just the way the rolling starts go. You know, depending where you're at, even if you're, you know, on the inside row, you know, if just based on where the pace car goes off, whenever the leader decides to go, you may not find yourself on the inside. You might find yourself on the outside.
Certainly will do, of course, Randy. You say it's difficult to go too wide through Moss Corner. Could you tell us a story about a certain time you visited this exact racetrack in a NASCAR truck?
Yeah, my oval iRating has been stereotypically bad, and the trucks went to Moss, and I decided to farm a bit of iRating, and I think I passed 3 cars through Moss in a single lap. I think I passed one on entry, one through the middle, and one on exit, and I got called. Someone called me a hot lapper that would wreck, and then I, you know, gapped the field by about 45 seconds in a 15-lap race. But you know,
I believe it was more like 7 cars you passed going to Moss on the first lap. You moved yourself up from last place, I believe, about 28th to about 14th in a single lap. So that was one of the more entertaining races I've been able to. Well, yeah, there you go. It's one of those more entertaining races I got to watch you race in, of course. But this track, it lends itself to the driver who really knows the circuit, Randy. That's, I think, the point I was trying to get to, is if you're comfortable with Mosport, it's not really a challenge. The challenge comes on track with the competition. But if you're not as confident, not as comfortable, this track can bite.
Certainly, you know, one wrong move here could, you know, put you in the wall very, very quickly, and especially going through that fast, you know, first sector corners, turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. One little mistake sees you put a couple tires on the grass, lose that rear end, and suddenly you're in a wall doing about better part of 130 plus miles an hour, and that's usually not good for your strategy.
It certainly isn't. Well, the field's tightening up now as we get ready to go racing here at Mosport. This car will pull off onto pit road here. You'll see them turning just to the right-hand side of the racetrack. Early commitment point for drivers entering pit road, and a very slow pit speed of 35 miles an hour. Field under the command of Maximilian Bendecki as the green flag will fly, racing here at Mosport.
Good start by Max here to get himself cleared going into turn 1. He's going to have turn 1 completely uncontested. Patrick Pichler, however, in that PRT BMW, he is under attack by that Gecko Vortex Sim Racing car of Alexander Manea, and Alexander's going to have the inside through turn 2. And actually, Patrick, he had to really, really get out of it. He's going to lose himself 2 spots here on the run up into turn 3 if Andrew Rodriguez can hold himself to the outside.
He's going to try, as we've had clean through turn 1 and turn 2 on this first lap, and everyone will slot into single file at the front of your field. The only 2 wide we have, a little bit deeper back in your pack, towards the bottom end of your top 20, but everyone's single file now for the run through Moss for the first time. Challenging braking zone, especially in heavy traffic, Randy. Everyone's seeming to get it just... Oh, we do have contact. We have an incident in Moss. I believe that is the driver of... It's one of the Bushwick racing cars.
Craig Park, there's an Audi alongside of Adam Sidlak, who made a pretty brave move on the entry into Moss. Actually, Adam did get a little bit of actually, no, Adam got helped by Adam got helped by that Audi behind. So, you know,
the number one Audi of Adam Sidnek. He comes in and makes contact there with, I believe that is the number... Oh, you know what, he has no colour behind his black numbers on the race car, which makes it incredibly hard to see. The number 14 car, I believe, or was in 14th place. That is the driver, we believe, of... Looks like a 12 or a 24. It's 21, Mark McDonald. No, it's not. We'll work that out at some point, but... Oh, John Atkinson Jr., that's the one we've got there, but... yeah, drivers making the numbers very hard to see. Not exactly helping us in the broadcast booth, Randy, but back live with the action we have at the moment as you'll see it's a good gap for Maximilian Bendeke out front. He's gapped the field by half a second, nearly over Alexander Menea. Patrick Pichler in third is a further 1.4 seconds back from your lead duo. Under attack right now from Andrew Rodriguez, who is hounding that BMW. Of course, the Audi very good in the slow corners, Randy. BMW lends itself more to the faster lane corners, so always going to be a good exit for an Audi following one of these front-engine cars running through Moss.
Yeah, but as you can see here at the end of the straightaway, this Audi is absolutely eating this BMW alive, as that's going to be Andrew Rodriguez looking to the outside coming into this final section of corners. And he does have the advantage. He's able to get that job done. Absolutely well done by Andrew to hold that. Hopefully he can hold the next two corners here, and actually he is able to get himself completely by Patrick Pichler. Absolutely well done, and like you said, that BMW very, very good through the high-speed corners. The Audi a little bit better through the low-speed stuff. Got himself a good run. Got onto that long straightaway where the BMW really does struggle and got himself by.
And he certainly did. Textbook pass there by Andrew Rodriguez. And that number 28 car there. Great run by himself as him and his teammate now sandwiching Patrick Pichler there. It's Christian Manzano from behind. Two Team Audis there running in P3 and P5. We've got some Dark Antigua Racing Team cars, so having a great run here tonight, Randy, of course, and oh, that's exactly what they need, but here comes Andy Gorton, one of the Vortex Sim Racing cars, another BMW looking to get involved in the action.
Yeah, we have a bit of a Vortex Sim Racing train here. You know, Andy Gorton in the BMW, Justin Brunner in the McLaren, and Jonathan Browett in the Audi, so all in different cars. You know, three different drivers all in the same team, and they're absolutely, they want to get these Dark Antigua guys up front. It looks like actually Alexander Menea is able to bring in Maximilian Benaki just a little bit and bring that gap down, and you know, that's definitely very good by him, and it's hopefully he's able to do that over the course of this event. We know, you know, especially after the pro race we saw today, Coanda pulling off that spectacular double stint on their tires. We know that BMW is very, very good over the course of a race. Hopefully this Audi of Alexander Menea can keep pace with Max.
I certainly hope it can, as we have a good fight going on here. Back in the bottom in your top 20, one of those drivers is the number 176 car of Georgie Rabb. He's chasing Craig Parks and Patrick Wolf there for the 17th, 18th, 19th position on the racetrack. They're joined as well by John Atkinson Jr. And so we have a four-car train here battling for the spot. Pure Racing Team car of that's Patrick Wolf there doing his best to stay out front. Just not quite got the speed here he'd like, Randy. That's one of the Bushfink cars making a move for him. That's Craig Parks there looking to try and find a way, but didn't get it done.
Oh no!
Oh, very close.
Oh, that was
I thought that was also going to be a wreck, if I'm honest. That was very optimistic on the brakes by Craig Parks, but well, he gets that car woed up in time, and it really kills his run up Andretti straightaway here, Andy. And you see him there, of course, dropping back a little bit, even with the draft effect. Tell us, what is the one thing that you see rookie drivers make the mistake of here on the Andretti straight? They always try to take the racing line, but what's special about this straight?
Well, the Andretti straight just said, actually the car in front of Patrick Wolf did hiccup just a little bit going through that sector, and Craig did have a bit of an opportunity to make a move, didn't quite get it done. But the thing with the Andretti straight is you know, depending on your car and the way your car works, you know, what you define as the racing line can change, because that entire last section is more or less a big spread out chicane in terms of the way it's laid out. So really you can be on the outside on entry, and yeah, you might, you know, lose the advantage through turn 8, but you will have the advantage through turn 9, which is the sharper corner, and where I would argue the racing line is a little bit more important. So I would say, you know, just because you're not on the inside going into that corner doesn't mean you're not in a good spot. Right now, Craig going in the run down into turn 4, he's looking at the inside of Patrick Wolf here for Moss effectively, and he might try to get this job done, but no, he's not going to try to make it work on the brakes.
Certainly isn't, but he has a good run, big run there through 5B, which is the second part of Moss Corner here at the Andretti straightaway. And keep an eye there on Patrick Wolf. Actually, no, don't, because he's doing exactly the opposite thing I was going to be talking about. But one of the things I was hoping you'd mention there, Randy, was being on the right-hand side of the track, almost hugging that right-hand side of the hill, because it's actually a lower grade than the left.
Yeah, I think it is just a little bit lower, and it is actually just a little bit straighter because, you know, the Andretti straightaway really isn't all that straight. It does kind of bend all the way throughout. But like you said, it is probably a little bit lower. Actually, Craig again gets a good run. But, you know, the thing is right now we have a BMW, which is stereotypically the slowest car in a straight line, trying to get by a McLaren, which is stereotypically the quickest. He's going to have a very difficult job actually getting that job done. And actually looking at my live timing, actually Craig's actually has very good top end compared to that McLaren of Patrick Wolf. So Patrick really struggling right now.
The only real opportunity they have, Randy, of course, to use that top-end speed here is the Andretti straight. That focuses on a good exit from a slow speed corner, which is something that, whilst the McLaren should be better at, it's not what Patrick Wolf is getting here. And, oh, Craig Parks having a good performance. It looks like he really wants to get past, and we'll see if he can make advantage of this. But, oh, contact there. Double contact as Parks gets tapped from behind by Georgie Rabb. That really threw a spanner in the works as Rabb will look to make a move now, taking advantage of the unsettled Parks.
Yeah, this is going to definitely shake everything up as Georgie is basically there on the outside.
3 wide.
They're going to go 3 wide going into this section. This is very brave. Georgie is very, very wisely backs out of that, but that's an absolutely impressive opportunistic move there by John Atkinson. It's actually just in front. Parks is also looking to the inside of Patrick Wolf through that second to last corner. He's going to be stuck on the outside here, but Wolf does not get the run he needs. Craig Parks has the momentum going into turn 1, but still going to be on the outside. He's going to be hard on the brakes. If he can hold this outside line here, he'll be on the outside for, excuse me, on the inside for turn 2. He holds it, and he actually gets himself well down by Parks. John Atkinson Jr. now looking on Patrick Wolf, going into turn number 2. Does not quite get the move done, though. So fantastic racing all around through at the tail end of this top 20.
Well, who's afraid of the big bad wolf? Not Craig Parks there with an inspired move through the first couple of corners. I realise this is the bottom end of your top 20, but that's exciting and very respectful racing, Randy.
Yeah, it really is, you know, and that's really what you have to do. We saw the driver in that blue BMW there, Georgie Rabb. He was, it's a Patrick Wolf. Patrick, he gets the Moss completely wrong. He's going to have absolutely no momentum, and this time he's not going to be under attack by a slow BMW. He's going to be having an Audi that's hounding him from the rear, and I think John Atkinson Jr. might just be able to make a move here as they come down into this into turn 8.
He might well do that. We'll just keep on looking on these guys at the moment. See, we'll look to the inside here. Will Wolf hold it on the outside? We'll find out. Wolf running very wide. Oh, a bit of grass there for Atkinson Jr. Hasn't got a chance. Tries to look again, but not close enough. This battle, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll come back to this shortly. But looking up front, Maximilian Bendeke there, leading by 0.6 seconds from Alexander Manea. That real gap has not changed at all. Single file, chasing each other. It's about 3 seconds back to Andrew Rodriguez and Patrick Pichler, who are separated by about half a second as well. So 2 pairs of 2 running in quite a significant distance from each other. And we have Manzano, we have Gordon, and we have Brault, and the Gecko Vortex Sim Racing sandwich of cars there. They are all running nose to tail essentially, but a bit of gap between them, so nothing much exciting. We're going to go back to this fight we've been watching in the back end of your top 20, as that is led by Patrick Wolf in P18, John Atkinson Jr., Georgie Rabb, Michael Yoda has joined this fight too, as has Matt Shinosky. This is an awesome race, Randy. This is probably the biggest fight we've had in the entire race so far. We're on lap number 8 here, so there's still a long way to go, but as we look here, Atkinson Jr. making a move there on Wolf for the second time into turn 8. Yeah, and he gets the curve the wrong way around.
Yeah, he's just going into turn 8 there. He was just very, way too much on the inside there. Definitely caught that curve, but he's actually got himself a little bit of damage after that. I wouldn't be surprised if that car is very, very loose after that. That's one of those things I was talking about. Some people, they want to be on that inside line so bad that they'll drive all the way down in there. However, if you drive too far inside, don't give yourself any angle throughout the corners. We have the 31.
We do. That is
just
Matt
self-spun
Shinosky on the. Oh, this is a trouble spot we talked about, Randy. Coming out of turn 10, the final corner, a little bit hot on the gas there, and round the back end goes, saves it from the inside wall, but Well, what goes up must come down, and he impales the outside wall just under the starter stand. That would have given the flagman a bit of a start, but well, Chernowski has no engine cover, possibly a very wounded engine. He'll be coming down pit road. Actually, I'm wrong. It's a rear-engined Audi, so he won't have a wounded engine, we hope.
Yeah, that's kind of a stereotypical Mosport incident, really. That last corner, very, very slippery. But just looking back to this battle and these 4 cars that are scrapping it out, really, I think Patrick Wolff is holding these guys up. Because if you look at Craig Parks, who's able to get by, he has since driven off into the sunset. So he's definitely going to have a stereotypically huge gap here.
It certainly is, and well, good racing by Patrick Wolff, we have to give him that. He's managed to hold these cars behind him for so long, and it's certainly been telling. Of course, Craig Parks, who passed him earlier, has run off into the distance. He's up there halfway through turn 1, and so just approaching it, so a big gap forming there. About 2-3 seconds, I believe, at this time, so it is 3 seconds in a racetrack, so definite speed difference there. Wolff last time by was a 17.3, and Parks was in the 16.7, so big difference in lap time, of course, Randy.
Yeah, it certainly is, and the thing for Patrick Wolff right now is even if he has pace, what he needs to watch out for, if he's holding these guys up enough, they will eventually get impatient, and they will make a move somewhere, so it really is going to depend a lot on Wolff to maybe, be smart here and say, yeah, I have a position here, yeah, there's 3 spots behind me, but if I'm really holding these guys up a lot, they're going to get impatient, and they will likely make a move somewhere, and hey, instead of just me losing a few spots, I may see myself get spun off into the wall here because of an aggressive move by John Atkinson Jr. or any of these other cars behind, depending on the order they run in. So I would think, right now, if I'm Patrick Wolff, I would definitely be thinking, is it maybe better for me if I just, give this up?
Could well be. We're going to have a look up at position 9 and 10. That's the 130 and the 83 cars. Oh no, we're not actually in the 83, the 4 car. I had it right the first time. I don't know where my head is today, but of course it's Marcus Pappenbrock and Patrick Richter. Those are the 2 Octonation cars, the twin BMWs.
We got a spin in front.
We do. Actually, yes, we had a moment for one of the Gecko Vortex Sim cars.
And Christian Manzano as well, he's running P5.
It is. Christian Manzano's had a big moment. That's actually one of the Dark Antigua Racing Team cars. Oh, this did involve one of the Gecko cars. That's why I saw it. He lost it coming out of turn 2. Slaps the Gecko Vortex car. That's the
96 of Jonathan Ball.
It is the 96 there.
I mean, that's just, kind of your stereotypical turn 2 incident. Christian Manzano just going through the second apex. He got a little bit too much of that inside. It's not really a curve, but there is a slight camber change there just on the inside of that white line. Caught a little bit too much of it, kicked the back end out, and that unfortunately, he tried to save it. He got snap oversteer on the correction, spun into Jonathan Brault. Definitely unfortunate for Jonathan. No real fault of his own, just wrong place, wrong time.
And yes, this is one of those things we see with the Audi, of course, Randy. Does snap oversteer when it gets out of shape. The car doesn't really like to transfer its weight evenly, and we see that a lot with these cars. But unfortunately, they're involving the driver Jonathan Brault, who's on track, but definitely wounded from that altercation, but he's down in P15 at the moment. Not the best place for him. He would have loved to have been higher. In fact, he's ended up behind those Octonation cars we were looking at before there, who are running with Adam Smirnsky as well there. Up towards the front of your field, we've got a couple of cars pitting now. More minor damage, not in the pit window yet. We're on lap number 12. As I am been told that I'm looking at the race on replay, which is something I've done before, a bit like Randy saying stereotypical, so we'll move on from that one and pretend it never happened. But running behind those guys is, we talked about the driver there of Jonathan Brault. He's dropped right back. He's in a really bad position, Randy.
They certainly are, but his teammates are still fighting hard. Justin Brunner look on the outside of Andy Gordon going into turn number 8, and he looks like he's going to absolutely get this job done. Going through 9, he has the inside lane, and, Andy Gordon just cycles himself back in single file. Absolutely well done by Justin Brunner.
Great move there by Brunner, making a position on his teammates. So fighting hard, but not too hard, considering they're from the same stable, Randy. You don't want to, of course, take out your teammate. That would be very unsporting of you, but good pass for him. That puts him up to the 5th position. Patrick Fischler, of course, inheriting that P4 from the incident we saw there with Christian Manzano, who had that self-spin off turn 2. I'm sure you'll find something stereotypical to say about Fischler's car, but he's catching Andrew Rodriguez right now very quickly.
Well, I mean, it's a GT car being driven by Patrick Pitchler. It's stereotypically towards the front of the field.
I'm sure you'd find a way to wait that one in somewhere, but out front, Maximilian Vendacki there having
Oh, we got
good
contact
run.
behind between the two Vortex cars going through Moss. No spin really, but Andy Gordon just much quicker than his teammate Justin Brunner in that McLaren. And he just I don't think he's expecting that McLaren to be as slow as it was through that through the middle and the second part of Moss. Got him, just a little bit of a tap, which you obviously don't want from teammates. And actually, Andy Gordon did lose a spot because of this. So definitely takes a little bit of the pressure off Justin, but a little bit of a tap between teammates. Just a little love nudge.
Well, we did talk about that and how we didn't really want to see that between teammates, but we're actually being told right now that they are no longer teammates, so that completely changes everything, I'm sure. But we saw, of course, there Gordon dropped back behind one of those Octonation cars. That is Marcus Pappenbrock, who has taken the position. He's up to position 6 on the racetrack, as he's now got his teammate Patrick Richter looking like he wants to make a move here for another spot. We were just talking about it before the incident, but Bendecki having a clean race out front. 1 second gap between himself and Alexander Manea at front of your field. Rodriguez, well,
Patrick Pitchler's
Pitchler's off. Pitchler's off.
Pitchler's wrecked.
I was just going to say he was in 4th, Randy, but get a replay of this, and we talked about this before. We've seen exit of turn 3 is hard. Hitting a wheel on the grass there for the BMW of Pichler, impales the outside wall hard, backs the car off the racetrack to clear the racing line. Very sporting of him, but I believe a friend of mine told me about this recently, that the BMW's differential is the one car that hates to get a wheel on the grass.
Yeah, I mean, the car can get very, very sketchy if you put a wheel off, and for him going through that turn, putting a wheel off on the exit of turn 3 is almost as bad as doing it on the exit of turn 2. And you just saw that he basically caught an immense amount of oversteer, and he almost had it, but just a little bit too much. Car snapped to the left into the wall. That's race done.
Certainly is. We have a move potentially here by Andy Gordon, looking to make a move on Marcus Pappenbrock of Octonation. BMW versus BMW here as they're chasing down Justin Brunner ahead of them. Looks like the Vortex car wants to have that position back. He feels he was faster before that contact with the McLaren, but well, it's going to be tough to get past a very similar car. Identical handling properties, Randy, so have to be driver skill.
Yeah, Andy Gordon, I mean, obviously he has that BMW of Marcus Pappenbrock to get by before he would be able to re-inherit, or to get that spot from his ex-teammate of Justin Brunner. However, Andy's, they're both pushing really hard trying to catch him, and this is, like we said, a very BMW-favored circuit, and really the polar opposite, the BMW of this stable of 4 cars, really is that McLaren, so I'm really not surprised to see him struggling.
We'll have to see what happens as this one unwinds over the next few laps. Going to go back and take a look at the fight we had earlier on with the drivers, who are now moving up a few spots due to incidents we've seen. Cedric Bollen on the pit road here. He's ex-team pit road now in 17th. Not where he wanted to be. Looking back at Georgie Rabb in the 176, the number 16 of Yoda. Love his name. And Patrick Wolf there. The McLaren that was leading the conga line towards the back of your pack. He's in 14th now. Drivers, of course, we might have seen some potentially pitting, Randy, but not really the pit window yet.
It's maybe a little early. Like I said, I'm not completely up to speed on the rules for this series, so I'm not sure if they have a pit window or not. But really, for these guys, they're going to want to come down, whenever they think they can get some clear track. It's going to come, there's really no strategy here because everyone has to do the same thing. It's just getting yourself, into as beneficial of a position as you can with clear racetrack, both with the pit entry as well as where you'll be on pit exit.
Absolutely. Well, we know, of course, with the limited fuel they're running, the pit window of about 24-25 laps means we have a window between lap 24 and 27, really, about 3 laps where these drivers will have to come down pit road, because that is the only point in a 45 lap race that will allow you to make the end on one stop. Of course, we don't expect them to take tyres. This isn't a huge stint. This is about the length of one full fuel stint in this car anyway, so definitely fuel, no tyres.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly. As actually we have Marcel Ty getting himself by Patrick Richter in that battle for P7, P8, so absolutely well done for them. And actually looking just ahead, Andy Gordon has brought that gap down to Marcus Pappenbrock, who's just ahead. So I would suspect Andy might make a move here in the early runnings. Andy has been just a little bit quicker the last couple laps. Actually, last time by he was half a tenth slower, but that's close enough for me anyways. But absolutely well done by Marcel Ty to get himself that position, as I'm sure he's going to want to hold on to that. Actually, looking back, going through turn 3, Mark McDonald on the inside of Adam Sibilak. He's going to be on the outside on turn 4, though, but in the inside coming into Moss. Oh, contact. Mark McDonald very, very loose, able to save that car. Absolutely phenomenal driving by both drivers.
Certainly is there as they rub fenders there going through Moss. It'll be a better exit for the Audi there. The number 1 car of Adam Sibilak. That's a great run through there from him, as we have a really tight fight here, Andy, and oh wow, awesome racing here as we also have the number, I believe that is Andreas Leikman. Oh, this is very tight, nearly 3 wide there for a moment as we'll back out, of course, and Siblak and the driver of McDonald side by side.
Oh,
again, more contact. This is very hairy racing. There's a wheel on the grass for the number 1 of Adam Siblak. He will be wounded heavily, but conveniently right next to pit entrance, so that's him out of this situation. Potential wheel damage there for the number 1 Audi, but that's something race control might take a look at. Mark McDonald a little overzealous in the corner, Andy.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of an interesting situation. You saw both cars there, on the run into Moss, they touched just a little bit, which was okay, but going through turn 8, 9, and 10 there, I would argue Mark McDonald a little over aggressive, a little overzealous, trying to get that move done. I don't think the space was there the way he really anticipated it to be. Not to mention, he did cut the nose pretty hard off a couple of the cars behind him in order to get that move, because the way they had to, the way he had to go through Moss, he had absolutely no momentum coming onto that back straightaway. So really, very, very overzealous driving there, in my opinion.
Certainly is, and you might say as well, it's the difference in the handling characteristics really of the BMW versus the Audi in those slower corners, possibly leading some of that miscommunication. Before, of course, this happened, we were about to talk about pit strategies. You were, of course, commentating today for the Blancpain Endurance Series, the Pro Series of Endurance Racing here on iRacing.com. Contact behind those drivers there as Andreas Leikman and Adam Slaminski having a bit of contact there, tapping each other very gently, running through those final corners, 8, 9, and 10. Of course, Jon Jens of the VRS Kind of Simsport team, Randy, they took 1 tyre at Silverstone today. Do you think 1 tyre, a left front, would be beneficial here at Mosport?
Well, probably not, just because it is just a single-hour race. But, for them, the reason it was beneficial there, though, is they saved themselves better part of 30 seconds on that pit stop. And I actually think that decision by Jon Jens might completely change the way a lot of the top teams, this GT style and endurance racing here on iRacing, completely analyze their strategy, because everyone else took 4 tires and gas, and Coanda Simsport taking that 1 tire, essentially no tires effectively. I'm sure there was just something in his practice and warm-up that Jorn found was taking the 1 tire that was slightly better. But that was something that was generally unheard of. It's actually ahead of Adam Slamy. Andreas Leikman looking the inside, going to turn number 8, not able to get that job done, though.
No, not able to get it done there, as Mark McDonald is being caught by these 2 drivers there, as the Octonation car there will get through on the hat machine of Adam Slavinsky. I'm butchering his name, I'm really, really sorry. How do we say that one, Randy? That's
I think
Slamazi. There we go. We'll get it right eventually. English too hard sometimes. As Andreas
I don't think that's English.
We'll get that run through. No, I realise that. That's possibly not, no, but front Andreas Leikman is still trying to get a gap towards Mark McDonald. Not quite close enough to make anything happen, though. Patrick Pichler, that's not Patrick Richler, it's Patrick Richter. His Octonation teammate there, running in P8. Track for him. How many drivers with similar names in this one, Randy? It's certainly a mouthful for us up here in the broadcast booth, but further up we have a good battle forming as Marcus Pappenbrock in one of the Octonation cars there, racing with Justin Brunner in the, we now believe it's an Inex car, even though it says Gecko Vortex Sim Racing on it. It's a bit of a boo-boo, I'm sure, but Being chased by Andy Gordon there, Marcel Ty, and well, Patrick Richter is catching up from behind there as we see Marcel Ty head onto pit road. This is lap 20. This is an early part of the window, but he was in fairly heavy traffic there, Randy. An early stop, clean track.
Yeah, and if he's able to come out and clean track, this will definitely be a beneficial move for him. Talking about Marcus Papenbrock, actually that last lap he was able to get by Justin Brunner. However, they came to the Mario Andretti straightaway, and look what happened. The power of that McLaren, Justin Brunner made it look easy getting by Marcus Papenbrock, and there wasn't really much Marcus could really do to defend it. By the time they were on the brakes for turn number 8, that McLaren was already clear by that BMW.
It certainly was. The McLaren's speed advantage, a major asset here, of course, and well, the McLaren, we know it's not as great in the faster corners, but it definitely has that top-end speed. As Andy Gordon there looking, sniffing around behind that BMW of Papenbrock. He would love to get through as well and break into the top 5 as he was running earlier, but Papenbrock showing some late stint pace here, Randy. Of course, we're not expecting him to take tyres, but in light of fuel, that Octonation car looking very quick.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, obviously, Andy lost that spot earlier after that little hiccup he had with Justin Brunner going through Moss. So I don't think that it's done quite yet. Is going through the pit lane or going by the pit lane entry now. Nobody, at least of this group of cars, is really going to take the option to come down pit lane just yet. I definitely think that Andy Gordon might have a little bit of pace on this Octo car. It's actually going through turn 1. Andy closed up quite a bit, and because of that, it actually compromises Apex, loses a little bit of time through it. And actually going into turn 2, that Gecko Vortex Sim Racing BMW, a little bit more hesitant going on the entry than Marcus Papenbrock is.
Yeah, he certainly is. Definitely gaining the advantage in corners that suit his car. Something you really have to watch out for, Randy, isn't looking at the driver you're racing with, the drivers around you, of course, and really analysing their style, trying to find an opportunity to get through there, of course. And these guys, well, they're also evenly matched. Their speeds are very, very quick. These guys, you're not going to really beat people simply through pace. This will require some careful thought.
Yeah, it certainly will, and I mean, obviously Marcus and Andy are pushing very, very hard, and really that's what they have to do in order to keep up with Justin Brunner in that McLaren. Now, obviously that BMW is generally seen as the stronger car of the two here. However, you put it in the capable hands, and suddenly a BMW struggles a lot in order to get a move done. Is actually ahead of Andy Gordon. Marcus Papenbrock does hiccup just a little bit going through turn number 8. I'm sure Andy Gordon's going to be kicking himself that he actually didn't get the greatest run coming onto that back straightaway, was not able to capitalize.
Certainly not, and we're going to have a quick look back here at the 16 car of Michael Yoda, the sole Mercedes in the field here today, with Georgie Rabb behind him in the 176. This is for 12th and 13th on the racetrack as, oh, I love looking at that sole Mercedes in the field, Randy. It's unusual to see only one of them here, of course. We do know that the Mercedes are strong, like the BMWs at this circuit. McLaren not so much, but really strange to see only one of them.
Yeah, it really is. You know, the Mercedes and BMW, they share a lot of characteristics, both obviously the only front-engine cars on the surface. Actually, that Mercedes goes off into the grass in turn number 2, and he actually got away essentially with murder there. Usually a mistake like that there, that sees you off into the wall almost surely. So, and he basically put six rounds into the revolver, spun that cylinder, pulled the trigger, and it still didn't go off. So absolutely a very beneficial thing there by Michael Yoder.
Oh, very much so. He narrowly avoided a trip towards those tyres. Here on the exit of turn 2, it's a site that has collected more than one race car throughout its history of a circuit here, Randy. Once you're off there, normally they are the first place you stop. But Yoda, very narrow escape. You could say he used the force.
Yeah, well, I hate you so much. Looking back at the field, though, Andy Gordon under attack by Marcus Papenbrock. They were side by side through the final section of the corners here. Marcus however, did not get a good exit coming on the front straightaway, and Andy Gordon able to stretch this gap a little bit. And actually, they're coming up on some lap traffic now. Justin Brunner is going to be the one who has to break it. It's going to be the Audi of the number 31 of Matt Shinosky. They're going to have to work themselves through. And right now, if I'm someone in this group of cars, I see a lap car in front of me, I don't try to pass this car. I hit the pit lane.
Certainly, indeed, exactly what you should go for in this situation. You don't want traffic, you need clean track, and the undercut here can be an important thing, especially when we expect no one's taking tyres. So it's clean track, it's clean air to run in, easier for you to hit your optimal marks. Of course, running in traffic you have to compromise, so you might see one of these guys in this group here pitting in early at this stint. We are very much in that pit window, Randy. So this is where we're expecting to see guys coming onto pit road.
Yeah, we're just over the halfway point here, so let's see. Justin Brunner is going to be the first one to maybe make this decision. No, he decides not to. Andy Gordon stays out. Naturally, Marcus Poppenbrock, they all stay out as well, and that's very, very interesting to me that they choose to do that. Now, obviously, they got pretty fortunate with that lap car basically ducking out of the way on the front straightaway. Actually, looking back, Mark McDonald hitting the pit lane right now, so he's really sort of the first one to really make a decision here. But Matt Shanowski actually very sporting, just pulls them alongside, lets the faster cars go. And really, if I was the car of Justin Brunner or even Andy Gordon here, just if I would be expecting that, I surely would have just hit the pit lane there just to make sure I didn't get held up.
One thing we really need to keep an eye on here is the 112 car of Maximilian Dendeke. He has been almost ignored all race because he's been so far ahead. But Alexander Manea has caught him up in second. They are a couple of tenths apart here, and who's going to blink first in terms of pit road from your leaders? But that Audi of Manea, Randy, is looking very, very strong at this stage.
Yeah, it certainly is, and really for Max, he's going to have to be careful because looking at my live timing and the top end differences, that Audi has been 2 miles per hour quicker at the end of that Mario Andretti straightaway. So right now, if I'm Maximilian Benake, if I hiccup at all between turn 1 and Moss Corner, that Audi's going to be on top of me, and there's not a lot that Max will be able to do to hold it off if he's able to get a run. And actually, we have Justin Brunner hitting the pit lane right now as well.
He certainly is. That's the 105 car there of Justin Brunner heading onto, it's not the 105 even, well, 102 car. There's a bunch of cars in similar numbers, but that's the Inex Racing car of Justin Brunner. He's come down pit road for fuel. You'll see him not go up on the jacks. We do expect a fuel-only stop. That car's revving the engine, waiting to get dropped, and he'll go. He does. Good stop for Brunner. We'll see where he filters out here, but
Benea has a run on
behind
Benaki.
Yoda.
Benea's making a move going into turn number 8 on the outside. As you can see, he's able to make this stick. He actually brakes relatively conservatively. I think he's just texting Max right now.
Really having a quick feel of the water, testing his elbow into the bathtub. Let's see what Bendeke he's been pouring in there. We'll see what he can find, but Manea definitely looking stronger in this stage, Randy. That car really not showing any sign of slowing down, running 16.2s at the moment still, compared to Bendeke running 16, well, slightly higher 16.2s, I think is the only way we can describe it, but we could account for that with the draft. These two very evenly matched.
Yeah, they certainly are, and Alex's lap would have been a little bit compromised there going through turn 8 because obviously he stuck to the outside. And I definitely think Alex didn't push the issue there as much as he could have. He was definitely well alongside, definitely could have made that move. I think he more or less just wanted to see what Max had, see what Max could do, and really just, some early race harassment of the mirrors.
It certainly is. He wants to see what can happen later on. These two are going to have to hit the pit road soon. Starting to see more and more cars pitting at this stage. Looking back, it's of course Maximilian Bendeke, followed by Alexander Manea. Andrew Rodriguez in third. He's 9 seconds behind your leaders. Running all on his own. Quiet race for him so far. Andy Gordon of Vortex Sim Racing, he's in P4. Marcus Poppenbrock of the Octonation cars is there. His teammate of Patrick Richter is right behind him. That is your top
Max
6. Max is heading on pit road as that will release Alexander Manea. He'll count as leading a lap this time by. Alexander Manea of Gecko Vortex Sim Racing takes the lead as well. The racing team's Maximilian Bendeke will head on pit road here. For fuel, maybe a tear off, but he's likely to come out at least in third position, Randy.
More than likely, and it's going to be interesting to see how actually, Alex Manea is able to respond to this. I mean, obviously, Alex is showing very, very good pace right now, and maybe this clean air is exactly what he needs. He's not going to have any of that aerodynamic understeer because he's not following that BMW anymore. And actually, he may not be, if Max is holding up that Audi in any way, shape, or form, Alex will now have clear track, will be able to run a couple 1 or 2 hyper fast laps, might be able to jump Max with the pit lane cycle.
Marcus Pappenbrock is on pit road there, as we saw your previous race leader, Maximilian Bendeke, coming out in P6 on the racetrack. Of course, cars ahead of him all yet to stop. So it's costing you in the ballpark, Randy, of about 27, 28 seconds from your position. So that's how far he dropped back there. We'll have to see, of course, Manea will have to respond this time by. Will we see him on? He is. Alexander Manea heading to pit road. The 887 Gecko Vortex Audi. R8 will head on to pit road. That slow crawl, Randy. 35 miles an hour. It feels like an eternity.
It certainly does, and talking about 30 seconds on the pit lane here, that would put him somewhere around this battle of Andy Gordon and Patrick Richter if those guys stay out. So that could be absolutely disastrous for him. Where did Max Benecke come out? He came out actually just behind that battle. So if these guys don't come down pit road, and actually I think they might be staying out here, he might, Alexander Mineo might find himself coming out in traffic. He's exiting now. Where's Max Benecke? Benecke's getting ready to come into turn 1 now. Who gets the jump? I think Alex might just have the lead here.
He has. Alexander Beneo is out in front, or behind his teammate Andy Gordon there. As behind him we'll have that Octonation car of Patrick Richter sitting in P4. Benecke will be there in P5, so he's lost a reasonable portion of time, Randy. That's in the ballpark of about 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's 3, 4, maybe even 5 seconds. I'm not exactly sure what the gap is just yet, but that's that's really a huge amount of time. Considering that Max was about 1 second or so in the lead at the pit stop, he's now 2 to 3 seconds in second place, effectively, and they're not just yet. As Enjo Rodriguez, Andy Gordon, and Patrick Richter, they haven't quite hit the pit lane yet, so they are still the technical race leaders. But Max Benecke, I don't know what happened, but that is definitely the opposite of what he would have wanted.
It certainly is. Not the result he needs, of course, and he's conceded the lead for the first time in this race, and he didn't have to pass him on track there, as Alexander Mineo will make a great pass. Andrew Rodriguez on pit road there. He's just arriving at his pit box now as Mineo will come around the final corner across the start-finish line and will not resume the lead this time by, of course, clear by about 10 seconds. 15 seconds, of course, on Andrew Rodriguez there. So a spectacular stop by Alexander Mineo, Randy. Has he taken enough fuel?
It's going to be hard to say. Looking at the amount of time spent on pit road, actually Alexander Mineo isn't even the someone who spent the least amount of time. Jonathan Brault in that Audi, we saw him have an incident early on in the race, so that's more or less irrelevant. And actually, he's worked himself well up the field already after that early incident. But it's going to be tight, I think, for Alexander. He definitely would have taken as little fuel as he could have hoped for, and it's going to be very, very, very tight.
Certainly is, and we'll see what these guys can achieve, of course, over the next 15 laps even. We are going to keep an eye on what's developing here in the race tonight. It's certainly been action-packed. We've had our share of violence and dismay. Of course, we have lost a number of drivers' lives. The score is 1 lap down. Here's Matt Shinowski, Przemek Banshee, Darius Mileski, Cedric Bolton is scored 11 laps down. Patrick Pichler, 15 laps down, out of the race. John Atkinson Jr. also out. And Christian Manzano out. Last place, he was running in 5th, Randy. Great race for him, has gone completely away.
Certainly has that. Right now, Endis Lakeman is looking on the outside, going down to the Mario Andretti straightaway of that 21 BMW of Mark McDonald. Not quite able to hold that momentum on the outside. He's actually going to get a little bit of a run on the run down into turn 9, not able to hold it. And he's actually going to hiccup just a little bit, and that opens the door for Adam Salmazi. I told you how to pronounce the name earlier. I've since forgot. Absolutely great driving by Adam, able to get himself up into that position.
A very opportunistic move there by Samazi, as he will sneak through into the 11th spot. Sort of wobble, of course, by Reichman there. Or Lakem even, sorry Randy. He sort of wobble and he just stuck his nose in, and Lakem gave him the room, and he just made that pass look very easy. Mark McDonald, well, he's in a good position. He's cleared those drivers. He's in the top 10 now by, 0 cars. He's running in 10th. Marcus Pappenbrook ahead of him. Well, he's about 7 seconds up the road, so at this stage, potentially an insurmountable gap. Pappenbrook running 16.9s, and of course McDonald running 18.2 last time by. Tragically slow for McDonald, but he's just a little far back now. We don't think he's going to go any further. If the fight between Amazi and Lakem can develop further, this could be good news for Mark McDonald.
Yeah, it certainly is, but Mark McDonald right now, he is kind of under attack of Adam and Hendrix Leichman, so I definitely think that he needs to still keep pushing hard here. I think these two cars do have pace on him, and he needs to be ultra defensive in order to not lose that position.
It certainly does, and of course, if you want to check out the Indy 500, that's on the other channel here at iRacing Live. We have cars going race car, very fast at some place in Indiana. I think this is some event happening, of course, Andy, but well, why would you want that when we've got exciting GT3 racing here at Mosport? Probably one of the best tracks for this sort of racing, Randy. Really exciting. It forces the drivers to focus on the circuit and their competition. This is no Tilkedrome. This is a really classic racetrack.
Yeah, and right now, Jonathan Brault has an absolutely immense run on the BMW of Andy Gordon, and this is going to be something we've seen before. We saw Andy earlier in the race pick up a position. It's actually Jonathan Brault. Well, I think those two are still Vortex teammates. It's actually Jonathan. He's the position for Justin Brunner as well. I think Jonathan, getting caught up in that incident, I don't think he can make it to the end on gas. I think he decided that there was no real point for him making that move, and he actually let the McLaren of Justin Brunner through as well.
Yeah, he certainly did at this stage, and well, Brunner, he's pitted once we know for damage. We know he can't make it to the end here, so expecting another pit stop by Brunner at this stage. That car was in a bad position earlier on.
Brault, not Brunner, Brault.
That's Brault. Sorry, I had this completely the wrong way around. Brault will have to pit again. We know that for sure. That car got damaged in the incident with himself and Christian Manzano earlier on. The Dark Antigo racing car getting sideways off turn 2. And he collected the innocent car of Brault, which has, well, still sort of climbed back up, but we do expect he needs to pit. Up front, it's Manea, Alexander Manea there in that 887 car. He's got a 3.5 second gap back to Maximilian Bendeke in the PRT number 112. 3.5 seconds. That's less than what he gained at the pit stop. How advantageous is pit entrance and exit here, Randy?
I mean, if he can get it right, there's a lot to be gained, but this is just, he's still running faster laps than Max was and Max is right now. So Alexander is really, he got that gap based on the pit stop strategy, but he's stretching it just on raw pace, which is absolutely, impressive to see someone stretch Maximilian Bendeke like this.
Absolutely. Maximilian Bendeke, of course, is, I could say, of course, even more if you want me to, but Maximilian is leading the championship standings with 282 points. Second place is Patrick Pichler, who unfortunately is out of this race today. That will not do his points any good, but Andreas Albensberger, his teammate, isn't running today as well. Justin Brunner, well, he is running. He's in 4th. Alexander Manea in 5th. So Manea won't gain enough points today, perhaps to move up more than 1 or 2 spots, Randy, but, well, he certainly will close the gap on Bendeke, and Bendeke will still stretch his race championship lead.
Yeah, he certainly will. So, and I think it still has to be a good result for Max, even if he finishes where he is. Mark McDonald again coming under fire of Adam Salmasi, going into Moss corner right now. And actually, this might be about as close as Adam's been all time. He needs to get himself a good exit on a Moss, and he gets an okay exit. I'm not sure if he's going to be quite close enough to draft up to the back of Mark. However, their car behind Andrews like him, also same story. Didn't really get a good exit, didn't really get a bad one. They're basically these three BMWs basically going to hold station on the run down into turn number 8. And actually, no, Adam's going to look up the inside going into turn number 8, and Mark shuts that door.
Very late dive there by Adam as, well, optimistic more than practical, Randy. He wasn't really going to secure that spot, but he definitely made McDonald look at that time as he has another close run behind him into 1. Will dive to the inside again, and will he get it this time? He won't be able to. Mark McDonald driving a good defensive line here. Gets that car secured in position, and well, he'll hold on to P10 for the moment, but it's far from looking secure.
Yeah, turn number 1, not the greatest passing opportunity on this circuit, and if Adam could have made that move, it would have been a little bit surprising in my opinion. But right now, he just needs to concentrate on getting a good run out of Moss. He definitely has pace though for Mark. He just doesn't have it anywhere where he can really get a pass done. Right now, if I'm Adam, either I need to get a run through turn number 3 to try to sling my Cat BMW up the inside into Moss, or I just need to get the exit off of Moss. Actually, he's very slow to the middle, but he catches that curb, the car bounces because of it, not able to get the power down due to the lack of rear traction, and I actually think Adam might come under attack here by Anders Lakem.
Do you think Lakem will have a good run here? Close enough, he might make a move. Defensive line at the moment, we'll see where he goes. Amasi will go for the normal line. Not close enough for Lakem, as he will look try and make a move from the 12th spot. But at the front, Mark McDonald's loving this. He wants to see him fighting behind him. I'd love to see him drop away from him. Definitely better through turn 5 for Mark McDonald, Randy. But the rest of these guys, well, they seem a little quicker in the last few corners as these guys battle around the end of your top 10.
I think this is just that little hiccup by Adam going through Moss that time is what really made him not able to make that move. Actually, Adam closes up quite a lot going through turn number 2. I really think Adam has the pace. Actually, we have a BMW off. That's Darius Sismecki. He's actually running down in 20th position, already a lap down, so not really sure what happened to him. But talking about this battle again, they now come running up down into turn number 4. Adam, again, he needs to make sure he gets a good run through Moss, but he cannot get on that inside curb. If you ever hit that inside curb, you lose any hope you ever had of being able to get a good run. He runs out wide. He just barely misses that curb, gets himself a good exit. I think he might be able to make a move here on the run down to 8.
And it could be, and that was a typical victim of turn 2 here at Mossport was Darius Simic. He had an issue there. He went off the track, crossed the rear end, turned inwards and hit the wall. So that car probably going to retire at this stage. But the number 8 car is doing what, Randy?
He's looking to the outside in turn number 8, and he's actually not able to get that move done again. Again, Mark showing very good momentum conservation on that inside lane, not letting Adam make a move, but Adam is very close to turn number 10, almost contact.
You keep saying Adam just so you don't have to pronounce his last name, don't you, Randy?
Maybe.
Well, I'm going to keep trying. It'll probably offend him, but I'll keep trying. That's Adam Slamasi running up there behind Mark McDonald. Slamasi trying to do whatever he can. That car closing in all the time, but just not enough to really challenge that 21 machine, Randy. He just seems to, well, he might be faster necessarily, but can't get the corner exits to make a difference.
Well, he doesn't have the pace where he can get a move done. He's faster all through the twisty stuff. However, all that twisty stuff is single file, and it's not exactly easy to get a move made there. He really almost needs to go old-fashioned and almost give Mark a little bit of a bump through Monster to get himself a chance here. Either that or he needs to be much, much braver on the inside through turn number 8 and just basically try to hold that outside line.
Got a move here, running up towards turn number 8 here. Side by side for McDonald and Slamasi as they will run in here. Can he hold it on the outside?
No,
and he cannot do it, and he will nearly lose the spot there to Andreas Lakem.
Actually, we have another car in front. I'm not sure who that is. I think
we do. That is
that's President
teammate.
It's President Bandzik, I believe, is how you pronounce that one. That's a lot harder than Salmati is. But for
he was P19.
Yeah, but for Salmati there, he did the exact opposite.
Contact. We'll get a replay for you now. That was the number 33 car. Contact with the 8th place running car. That's the number 4 machine of Marcel Tai. Marcel Tai slow there. We'll have to work out what's happened to him, but contact with Tai. We'll have to pull this one further back even more. Marcel Tai was racing the 83 car. We missed this completely. That was, I believe, the car of Patrick Richter in the Octo Nation car. Those two running up towards turn 8, and contact in 8. I believe Marcel Tai turns in on Richter there, Randy. He does indeed. He turns in on Richter and gets sideways round. The car is recovering and slow as he tries to return to the racing line. Wobbles, lets the car through, rejoins, and here comes the 33 car. Off he goes, pulls him with him. Both of them into the guardrail, although Marcel Tai got away with that. Really, we have to say that was his fault, Randy.
Yeah, that's just a silly mistake on Marcel Tai's fault. That was, to start off, it was just an over-aggressive move trying to pass that car for position, and then just a completely unsafe rejoin.
It's back on pit road. We expected this here. 6 laps to the end for him. Could not make it on fuel. Just too close. He'll come down for his splash of gas. No race fuel there for that car, and he'll be out and away, running once more. We'll have to see what he can do now and make up some spots. Wouldn't have lost a huge number of positions, we believe, but certainly not time he wanted to spend under that pit road speed.
Yeah, certainly really unfortunate for him. He definitely had pace, and definitely unfortunate that he was only a handful of laps outside of that pit window to be able to make it to the end here. However, this does move all these guys up in this P10 spot. In this P10 battle, it moves all of them up a position. Is actually something we've missed. Craig Parks has actually become a part of this battle at the tail end of the top 10. This has turned into a 4-way BMW scrap. It's no longer just 3.
Oh, the fighting has certainly slowed them down. McDonald's, Slamazi and Larkham have been fighting so hard. They've allowed that 79 car of Craig Parks to catch up. Plus, he did qualify in 14th. He's running in 13th now. We knew he dropped back.
Adam making
had
a
a
move
terrible
again.
start. Yeah, Adam Samazi there making a move on McDonald. Again, can't get it done in turn 8, Randy. Can't get it done in turn 9. And, well, will he make a dive? No, wobbling very much.
He almost got himself done into turn number 10.
That car was on the absolute edge of adhesion, Randy. He was pushing as hard as he could. Just could not find a way through.
Yeah, I mean, it was well beyond the edge of the edge of adhesion there. He was very, very, very sideways coming through turn number 10. And, you know, going through turn number 8, he's just... it's like he wants to get it done, but he's not completely committing the way he needs to. You can definitely make a move there on turn 8, but he's just... I think he's backing out of it just a little bit too early, and I think he's not trying to squeeze that car of Mark McDonald enough. He needs to try to hold Mark to the inside a little bit more going into the entry there.
Yes, he certainly does. And wow, it's lap 40, well, start of lap 41 here, end of lap number 40 for Alexander Manea, your race leader in that 887 Gecko Vortex Sim Racing car. We are 5 laps to the finish. It's a 3.8 second gap back to last race's winner, Maximilian Bendecke, your championship leader, who, well, we have to say, really suffered on pit road, Randy. He gave that lead up to Alexander Manea, and we've not seen him since.
Yeah, I mean, Alex has just been, you know, driving away with it. Absolutely phenomenal drive by him. And well done to gather that lead up and get that advantage in the pit lane. Absolutely phenomenal driving. Max is definitely no slouch in these cars. So to be able to fend someone off who is as good as Max is and to stretch out such a big gap is absolutely an impressive thing. And right now, just looking back down the order, Adam Salmasi, after that little hiccup, he's actually come a bit under attack from Andres like him. And Andres didn't quite have the pace to get the move done into turn 8 this time by, and he's actually fell off just a little bit, so it seems. So it's going to come down to the runoff Moss corner. They're looking up in front. Mark McDonald didn't quite get turn 3 turned in the way he needed to. He lost a bit of space. Suddenly, Adam starts reeling him in again.
Certainly has, and Adam Samazi there. They're trying to have to make a move here, but, well, there's a car in front of Mark McDonald that could provide a bit of draft, which could protect him, but...
That's Marcel Ty we saw get caught up in that incident.
It is Marcel Ty running in P8. Well, he's dropping back now. He's had some contact. That car not in the best health. Mark McDonald might have a chance here to make a move on him if he can catch him. He is, I believe at this stage, we think he's about 2.5 seconds up the road, so within striking distance, Randy. But somebody else in striking distance is Adam Slamazi there, running in P11 or 10 even at this stage. That car is desperate to find a way past the sister BMW, but there's no opportunity behind them. Lakem and Parks, well, they're riding here at the moment. They're keeping an eye on this situation, seeing what develops here in your final laps.
Yeah, they really are, and Parks, I think, is expecting something to happen because he's dropped off just a little bit. I mean, he's just playing the smart game, looking up to Marcel Ty. He ran a 16.9 that last time, which is a bit quicker than everyone else's in this in terms of the tail end of the top 10. So I think that might be Marcel just having a hiccup on a lap before, you know, over the past couple laps. I don't really think Mark, Adam, or Andres are going to be able to get to him in order to make a move. I think what it's going to come down to is just whether or not Adam can get himself the drive off of Moss that he needs. Or actually, I think if I'm Adam at this point, I know I don't get the momentum coming off of a Moss corner that I need to get the run down into turn number 8. I need to make a brave move going up into Moss.
It would certainly be a very good opportunity to pass, especially in BMW. It would certainly lean itself that way. One driver who's really recouped from what could have been a race of disaster has been Jonathan Brault in that 96 Gecko Vortex Sim Racing car. Mr. car to your race leader, Alexander Manea. Brault, of course, involved in that contact with Cristian Manzano of Dark Antigua Racing Team early on. Incident of turn 2. Oh, he's had to pit twice, Randy, in this race early on after that incident, and pitted again here in your dying laps. He's in 13th, not going to catch anybody else, we think, at this stage unless we have an incident, but 13th is certainly a reasonable recovery from a car that was involved in a fairly heavy hit.
Yeah, very well done by Jonathan there to the good recovery drive. 13th, obviously not where he'd want to be. He had some pace and was actually showing for a little bit that he was running similar times to those guys up in the top 5, but like you said, just not quite close enough. Was actually looking at looking at Adam Salmasi, he's about as close as he's been. Let's see if he actually, something's happened to Andres Lycum. What's happened to him? He has dropped back absolutely immensely. He was a victim of turn 2. This is just a mistake all on his own. Went too hot into turn number 2, went off into the grass, and again we see another car make a mistake at turn 2, something that generally guaranteed to see you off into the tires, and he actually doesn't hit anything, just essentially lose the position in some time. However, Adam Salmasi is as close as he's been on Mark McDonald. He's actually looking to the outside again, and at this point, lap 43 of 45, he needs to commit on this entry. Let's see if he does it.
Oh, Randy, we also lost Georgie Rab. 176 car, he ran off on the entrance to turn 3 into that far corner. His car is not in a great position, but wow, that's 2 incidents in one sequence of corners in your final laps. That is spots, of course, for the likes of Brown.
Oh no, and Adam Salmasi spins. Salmasi just
he has
off
indeed,
the
on the
corner.
front stretch. We'll get a replay for you quickly. Oh, it was very close. He tried to put the foot down too close behind Mark McDonald there. The car turns left, turns right into the outside wall, narrowly missed there by, I believe that was Craig Parks, but big spin there by Salmasi. His race is completely over. That car is dead, Randy.
Yeah, I mean, that was just, he got a much better run coming out of turn 10 than Mark McDonald did. And he tried to get that power down, tried to make that move going into turn number 1. He definitely jerked that wheel to the right to try to get up the inside of Mark McDonald. And actually, we're working on the last lap right now. Valiant Manea taking the white as he goes through turn number 2. And it's just definitely unfortunate for Adam Salmasi. So clean his last, 15 to 20 laps or so in that battle to have it end like that.
It certainly is there as, well, it's the car of Alexander Manea. He's catching the only Mercedes in the field, that is Michael Yoda. He's lapped up to P13 at this stage, Randy. Manea running second of the race with the only car in his field we saw able to keep hold of Maximilian Bendecki in that 112 Gecko Vortex Pure Racing Team car. But the pit stop, critical hinge point in the race here, he got past and he has not looked back. Some of the fastest laps in the race today have been put together by this driver, Alexander Manea. An incredible run for the driver from the Central Eastern Europe club. Now, he will get it done here at Mosport as he comes through turn 9 and turn 10. Michael Yoda will get to turn that lead lap as Alexander Manea will win at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park.
Absolutely well done by Manea, and like he said, that pit stop sequence is really what got him the win here.
It certainly was, as also Maximilian Bendecki there will come through in second. Andrew Rodriguez just now crossing your finish line. Andy Gorton will be coming home today in P4. Justin Brunner in P5. Keep an eye on the battles we have. Well, there aren't any anymore. Too many people had incidents in your final laps as everyone runs through to the finish now. We're just going to get ready for some post-race interviews. Well, once these guys all finish up at this stage, there's still a few coming through, but we'll run through your finishing order. Great race by Alexander Manea. He comes home on the top step of the podium here at Mosport. He'll be sharing that with Maximilian Bendecki and Andrew Rodriguez. Andy Gorton comes home in 4th, Justin Brunner in 5th, Patrick Richter and Marcus Pappenbrock, the Octonation teammates, coming home in P6 and 7 respectively. Marcel Ty holds on for P8 and Mark McDonald will finish in 9th. Craig Parks, great run from him, and the Bushfink car, he will finish in 10th. The rest of those results up on your screen. Wow, exciting race, Randy. We're going to have a quick commercial break now and hopefully come back with a couple of quick interviews for you after the round. Stick with us.
Nick Candy, what a move. Truex on the outside, contact made. 56 slides in at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Welcome back to the post-race coverage from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in the 2K GT World Cup. Richard White and Randy Cheneth here. Well, no one's come for an interview, so we're going to be wrapping this up very shortly. It's kind of unfortunate. We'd love to talk to Andrew Mineo about that pit stop and Maximilian Bendeck about that run earlier on in the race, but nobody loves us here at RaceSpot TV, so we're going to have to wrap up with our final thoughts. Randy, great racing tonight. 45 laps of no-holds-barred GT action. Let's stop throwing in there to make it interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, pit stops is where we saw the big shakeup, especially up front. You know, Alexander Minea doing that fantastic job, getting himself that 3 to 4 second gap ahead of Maximilian Benarque, which Max could just never really reel back in. And, you know, some good fighting up and down throughout the field, mostly through the midfield is where we saw the vast majority of it, with that 3 to 4 way scrap between Mark McDonald, Craig Parks, Andrews Lycum, and as well as Adam, who I'm still just going to... Adam Salmasi, I'll try it one more time. But yeah, you know, Mosport, it was typical Mosport. We saw some, you know, a good chunk of self-spins, but really, actually, I don't think we had any real incidents between cars fighting for position.
You know, well, we did have the incident, of course, with Marcel tying a couple of back markers, but it was certainly a clean race in terms of on-track action. Great racing here as always, and you can catch us same time in the next round for the 2K GT World Cup. But I believe will be, well, it's surely showing us Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. In fact, with the 4th of June, you can join us at Phillip Island for the next round of the 2K GT World Cup. Oh, we'll see you all down under. Take it easy.